Hello dear friends, welcome back to MACSGATE. We are learning Python programming, and from today onwards we start with control flow statement. So I start with some prerequisites and some important concepts. We already done that, but it's a kind of quick review, and we start with control flow statements. So first of all, what do you mean by an expression, sir? An expression comprises operators and operands, and it evaluates to a value. Generally, an expression evaluates to a value. That is the main point to be noted. So, a value, if you take any single value also, it can be considered as an expression. And we have different kinds of expressions in Python are formed using using arithmetic conversions, like using int function, float function, like that, or using arithmetic operators. We can get this different types of expressions in Python using bitwise operations, comparisons, logical operations, conditional expressions. So using these operators, different types of operators and different types of operands, and combining them, you are going to get expressions. And one more interesting concept I want to discuss is the expression list. Okay, and these concepts are special to Python. So I just want you to understand before starting with control flow statement. See, an expression list is a series of one or more expressions separated by comma, and a trailing comma is optional. See, generally when you are having series of expressions, you can separate them by comma, and the trailing comma is optional. If you want, you can just keep a trailing comma and you can stop there. Okay, except for expression list comprising of a single expression. Suppose if it is a expression list for a sequence or for a dictionary or anything, then you need to keep that comma compulsory. When it is a single expression, that comma is compulsory for a what do you call that, container. Is that clear? The expressions in an expression list are evaluated from left to right. I'll just give you an example for this expression list, so that you will understand what is this expression list. Okay, so it's like, you can have 2 plus 3 comma 5 into 6 and 6 minus 7. You can write big expressions also, no problem, or you can write something like 6 greater than 6. So this is called an expression list, and a trailing comma you can keep, that doesn't matter. And actually, if you observe, the result is a tuple. The result is a tuple. So an expression list of one or more expressions yields a tuple object. Whenever you are having expression list, okay, separated by comma, that always results in a tuple, my dear. Okay, so here this is a tuple of 3 elements, and here one more expression list I taken. This is an expression, this is an expression, which are separated by comma. The trailing one, you can trailing comma is optional, sir. If you keep, it does not matter. If you don't keep also, it does not. So this is also an expression list. So this particular expression list creates a tuple object. Okay, so this 3 into 2 is evaluated to 6, and this 4 minus 8 floor division 2. So 8 floor division 2 means what, sir? So the answer is 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, and this will result in a tuple object. And when the resulting tuple is assigned to a single variable, this is called tuple packing. So you can assign this to a tuple variable, and this is what you call it as a tuple pack. What is it called? Packing. Tuple packing. That is, you are creating a tuple variable, and this expression list is assigned to this particular tuple variable. This is what we call it as a tuple packing. That is, you are packaging that expression list. You are packaging that particular expression list into a tuple object. Is that clear? So this is called tuple packing. Interesting concept. And one more interesting thing, when you are having a single variable, when you are having a single value, it is just an integer. Or if you are having a single value, like float value, it is a float object, not variable, object. Or if you are having a string, single string, then it is a string object. And if you want to create, if you want to consider it as a expression list, a trailing comma is compulsory. For example, if I write 5 comma, Now this is considered as a tuple object with a single object, or tuple variable, or referencing to a tuple object having single object. So now look at this. This is tuple object. So whenever you are having a single value, that should be always, we should always keep a trailing comma, my dear, to make it a tuple object. If you don't want tuple object, you just make 5 or that number or that whatever string or whatever it is, you can just make. Please note. So now it is a number, but if you keep a trailing comma, it is considered as an expression list. See, this is just an expression, whereas this is an expression list. Please note that expression list is always converted to a tuple object. So that is what we call it as a tuple package. That is what is called as a tuple package. Any doubt, my dear friends, you can ask me. Okay, we are live. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me, my dear. Right? This is called tuple package. And there is one more interesting thing called unpack. Of course, here I mentioned it as sequence unpacking. You can also do dictionary unpacking. You can also do set unpacking, but mainly it is done for sequences. A sequence type object can be unpacked to multiple variables. Suppose I am having a sequence. Suppose I am having, it is marked down one. Let me just take this code cell. Now look at this. Now I am having this sequence and hello. So this is a list. Actually, list is also a type of sequence. Now what I can do is I can just assign multiple values. That is, I am assigning this particular list to these 3 variables. So what actually happens is this list get unpacked and those values are assigned to, of course, list object will be there only. Only thing is that those particular objects are assigned to those variables. Okay, so what may happen here is, here you are having a list with 3 objects. So this is referring to something, this is referring to something, this is referring to something. And when you say ABC is equal to, okay, let us call it as some list 1. ABC is equal to list 1. In that particular case, what happens? A will get reference of this object, B gets reference of this object, C gets reference of this object. So this is what exactly happens. This is what exactly happens. So this is what you call it as unpacking of the sequence. Unpacking of the sequence. So here, if you want, you can just check what happens after doing this. So after doing this, what happens? You just want to check what is type A. What is type A? A is, here what happened? 3 is assigned to A, so A is an integer type. Now you want to check what is type of B. So what is assigned to B? 45.67, which is of type float. And what is type C? It is a string type. Or we can do one thing. Let us create something like list 1 is equal to this particular list. Am I clear? Then you assign ABC to list 1. So what happens? This list 1 unpacking will happen. Okay. Now you can see list 1 is assigned. Even in this case, the same story is happening. And if you want to check, whether A is, you remember, is used to check whether both are same objects or not. List 1, A is list 1, 0. You can check whether both are same objects or not, because A is referring to list 1 object. This is exactly what is happening. A and list 1 0. This is 0 index. Now list 1 0 objects are 1 and different. They are referring to the same. So what is actually happening is, nothing is divided from the list and assigned to itself. What actually happened is this particular object is assigned to the variable. So this is what we call it as unpacking of the sequence. This particular concept is what is called as unpacking. That's it, nothing more. Hope you understand. So A is assigned this object, B is assigned this object, and C is assigned this object. You can also do tuple unpacking. Okay, other unpackings also made. Of course, these are all useful when you do, like, when you go for loops and all. Okay, in those concepts, these concepts or these ideas plays very, very important role. So that's why I just want you to understand. Okay. So this is the idea. So this is what we call it as unpacking of a sequence or sequence unpack. Okay. Now there is one very important program, sir. Like in C language, in the very beginning, or in any programming language, in any very beginning, we teach this particular program, like swapping of two numbers. So for that swapping of two numbers, suppose say A is 10 and say B is 20. So what actually we do is A is equal to A plus B. Okay. Then B is equal to A minus B. Then A is equal to A minus B. I think here you can print AB, and after this you can print AB. Let us see what actually happens. I'll just explain this particular program. But this swapping in Python is a very simple program. Swapping in Python is a very simple program. So what actually we are doing in other programming language, to understand the logic, this is very interesting. A is 10 and B is 20. So when you say A is equal to A plus B, now A is 30 because A is referring to 30. Then B is A minus B. B is A minus B means 30 minus 20, that is 10. Then A is what, sir? A minus B. 30 minus 10, that is 20. So if you run this particular program, what happens? Initially A value 20, A value 10 and B value 20. That is, A is referring to 10 object, B is referring to 20 object. After this swapping, this is called swapping code. After this swapping, what happens? B refers to 20, B refers to 10 and A refers to 20. That is what actually happens. Okay, if you want, you can just check what actually happens. So initially A is referring to 10 object, B is referring to 20 object. So when you say A is 30, so A changes to 30 object. Then B is A minus B. 30 minus 20 means B now refers to 10 object. Then A, what is it? 30 minus 20, that is 10. 30 minus 10, that is 20. So now B refers to, A refers to 20. So this is what actually happens. Am I clear? So initially A pointing to 10 and B pointing to 20. Now what happens? Swapping will happen. But in Python, we don't have to do this nonsense, sir. We have very simple code actually. A is 10 and B is 20. You can just do AB is equal to BA. You can just do AB is equal to BA. The swapping will be done. AB is equal to BA. The swapping is done. If you want, you can just print AB values before and AB values after. Print AB here and print AB after. So here what happened? The swapping happened. You can just check. Initially 10, 20 and 20. See how simple it is, swapping code. So it's very simple in Python, my dear. So Python actually reduces your code sometimes to many lines. Here you see the 3 lines of code is reduced to just 1 line of code. So here BA means what, sir? It is actually a tuple. So the tuple is unpacked to AB here. That's why you got AB swap. Am I clear? So that is exactly what happened here, my dear. So this is what we call it as tuple unpacking, my dear. Is that clear? And normally the number of variables must be same as that of elements in the sequence. So here we are having 2 variables and here we are having 2, that must be same. Or if you are assigning variables to a list, the number of objects in the list must be equal to number of variables you are assigning. That number must be same, my dear. But there is one special operator called star operator, and Python supports this particular special syntax for remaining elements. So for one variable, for at most one variable, this unpacking syntax can be syntax can be marked with star. I'll just show you what is this. I'll just show you what is with an example. Okay, look at this, sir. Suppose you are having a list. Suppose you are having A, B, C, 3 variables, and suppose the list is having say 4 elements. Let us take integers. You can take other numbers also, no problem, sir. For simplicity, I am taking. In this case, what happened? There is a syntax error. Why? Too many values to unpack. Here we are having 4 objects, but only 3 values we are given. So unpacking is not possible. But what you can do is, you can use star for one of the variable. So if I use star for one of the variable, what happens? This A get one object, this C get the last object, and the remaining objects are assigned to B. That is, this B fellow becomes a list. Let us see. Now if you want, you can just print B and check what is B. B is this 34, 56. So B get assigned the remaining elements which are not unpacked to any other way. So this is a very interesting concept, my dear. So using the star operator, of course star operator can be used as a multiplication operator. During unpacking, this can be used for remaining elements. So the remaining elements are all assigned to B. So instead of B, if I say C, star C, if I say star C, in that case what happens? A gets 2, B gets the object 34, that is B maps or B refers to 34, and C gets the object 56 and 78. You can just check that. C get objects 56 and 78. Suppose if I do star A, what happens from last? So last two elements are assigned to BC, that is 56 is assigned to B and 78 object is assigned to C, and star A, that is A object, get the remaining two elements. A object get the remaining two elements. So 2 and 30. So this remaining elements operator, star operator, is very, very interesting during unpack. Is that clear? Please note this point. So that is about the basic story. Now we start with statement. Of course, our main interest is control flow state. But before that, we need to understand what are the different types of statements we are having in Python programming. In Python programming, mainly we are having sequential statements. Then we have this, control flow state. The control flow statements can be categorized as selection control or the repetition control state. Of course, there are one more type of statements which are called transfer control statements. But in programming language like C, we also have go to, okay, which is very uncontrolled control flow statement. But here we don't have that go to statement. Even switch we do not have, but there is a variant of that we may discuss. Okay, that is not regular one, we may discuss later. Am I clear? Now first let us understand what is statements. Statements, unlike expressions, are primarily used for side effects. See, generally expression gives a value, whereas statement produces a side effect. For example, if you are having assignment, okay, expression just give you a value. Okay, of course it may be an object. That expression completely evaluates the value, that is an object. But when you do an assignment, this object is assigned to this particular variable, so it gives a side effect. So generally we call expressions produces value, whereas statements create a side effect. Am I clear? That is control program flows or to generate output. So the control of the program may move to one place to other place. That is, the control transfer from one place to other place. Further it may happen, or to produce some output. These statements are generally used. And we are having the first type of statements. We call them as sequential statements. That is, these statements are executed one after the other, sequential. So that statement is executed, immediately next statement is executed, immediately next statement is executed. So a simple statement comprises a single logical line and executed in a sequential. Okay, that is, this statement is executed, next simple statement is executed like that. And several simple statements may occur in single line separated by semicolon. Of course, this is about syntax, nothing more than that. For example, of course, even an expression can be a statement. Even an expression can be a statement. Okay, it is a special type of statement. See, an identifier assigned to a particular value expression, that is also. So a statement can involve identifiers, literals. Okay, it can also involve expressions, everything. That is how the statements are. And if you are having simple statements, instead of writing them in several lines, you can write them in single line. See, even if you write in single line, they are executed in the sequential manner only. Please note. So for example, if you are having A is equal to B, or A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20, and C is equal to 30, then I want to print ABC. You can write all of them in a single line. Of course, here we are having 4 sequential statements. First, this is executed, then this is executed, then this is executed, then this. So you can do this. That is, if you are having several statements, you can separate them by semicolon. but generally this is not a good syntax we use in Python programming language. Semicolon can be used to separate this single logical statement. Please note. Is that clear? Any doubts? So we can have this expression statement, assignment statement, of course pass statement, we are going to discuss that, global statement, non-local, there are many statements. Okay, print statement, input statement, all these are all statements. They are all called input statement. If you call a function, that is also a statement, but that may call a function. In that statement you may have several statements. That is a different story, but this becomes a single statement. Call becomes a single statement. Right. Is that clear? Control flow statements. See, control statements specify the order of the execution of the statements in the program. That is, in which order the statement should be executed. If you don't have any control flow statements like if else, okay, elif ladder or for loop or while loop, statements are executed sequentially. But whenever you are having this control flow statements, so they'll tell you what is the next statement to be executed. That is, they define how the control is transferred to different parts of the program. They'll explain that, how the control is transferred to different parts of the program. Clear? And control statements are used to create special program features such as selection, repetition, and transfer. Okay, so I'll just give you the overview of this control flow statements. The control flow statements can be categorized like sequential statements, which we know. Then we have this selection statements and repetition statements. So selection statements we are going to discuss today, that is if else, nested if else, and if, elif, and else, that is called elif ladder. Am I clear? And we have repetition statements we start from tomorrow. Am I clear? Today we discuss mainly about selection statements. Actually, these selection statements are called conditional selection statements. That is, with some condition, the control is transferred to some part of the program. Okay, if some condition is true, some part of the program is executed, or some block of the code is executed, or some block of statements are executed. If the condition is false, some other part or some other block of statements are executed. So that's why these selection statements are called conditional selection statements. With a condition, the control is transferred. Okay. Of course, this repetitions also happens with some condition only, that we'll discuss. Then we have this unconditional selection statements or transfer statements like break, continue, pass, and return. We'll try to discuss about them little later. See, generally this pass statement is used to tell that we are not having any code to be executed for that particular portion. Okay, so this pass can be used together with if statement, but this break and continue generally they are used with loop controls. Okay, we'll try to understand when we discuss repetition statements. Of course, return statement is used generally with functions. Clear? And we don't have switch, that also comes under this unconditional selection statement. We don't have go to in Python. Please note that point. Now the selection statements. So we mainly call them as conditional selection statements. That is, with some condition, a particular part of the code is executed. So we are having the following selection statements. The first one is if, the second one is if else, the third one is nested if or nested if else, and the fourth one is this if, elif, and else. Okay, we'll discuss one after the other, sir. And these statements are called what? These statements are called conditional control statements or conditional selection control statements. With some condition, the control is transferred. Okay, we try to understand one after the other. Now this is the first one under this conditional selection statement, which is if statement. We simply call it as if statement. Okay, I clearly given the flow chart and also given the syntax. If you see, you'll understand. With examples we try to understand more, sir. Am I clear? Because from now onwards we'll be using this control flow statements very regularly. Am I clear? So if statement is the simple selection, decision, branching statement. So what actually happens is your program is executed sequential manner, and
when you find or when you encounter this if statement followed by a condition. So if the condition is true, a particular block of statements are executed. We can call it as if block. Okay, that if block will contain some number of statements. Those statements get executed. If the condition is true, then control transferred to the next statement. Control is transferred to the next statement, my dear friends. This is what actually happens. Is that clear? And if it is if statement, if the condition is false, directly without executing any of the statements in this if block, control is directly transferred to the next statement. If the condition is true, all the statements in that if block are executed, then the control transferred to the next statement after the block. If the condition is false, directly we move to the next statement. So that is what exactly happens. So the syntax looks like this, my dear friends. We need to understand this syntax because if you are coming from some other programming languages, then you find it little different. If you are new to programming language, then also you should understand the syntax. Okay, suppose if you miss any syntax, that will be syntax error. Please note, okay, in programming language, first thing we should know the syntax properly. So this is the syntax error. There's a keyword, if keyword, followed by this condition. This condition is generally a Boolean expression. Means it should result in true or false. And we already seen, see, Boolean values are true, false, but non-Boolean values also can be considered as true, false. For example, if it is a string, empty string is false. All other strings are true. If it is a number, 0 is false. All other fellows are what? True. Am I clear? So similarly, if it is a list, empty list is false, remaining all are true. So this Boolean expression should result in true or false condition. And if the condition is true, these statements get executed. And remember, after the condition, there should be a colon. This colon is compulsory. After condition, this colon is compulsory. And all these statements, okay, they are written with a indentation. Generally, this indentation, if you are using any IDE like VS Code or any IDE, the indentation automatically happens. You don't have to worry about it. But this indentation must be fixed. Generally 4 spaces. Okay, so this is the indentation, and all these statements must be with the same indentation. Suppose one statement you write with 5 spaces, that is also a syntax error. Am I clear? So this block we understand with indentation only. In Python, the blocks are understood with the indentation. Am I clear? And when your indentation completes and you find the next statement without any indentation, it is very clear that this is the statement after the if block. All the statements with same indentation level are within that if block. Please note that. Am I clear? So I just written the condition, sir. The keyword if begins the if statement. So if is the keyword, reserved word. Then the condition after if is, this is the Boolean expression. I already told you. Then a colon must follow the condition. This is compulsory. Sorry, this colon is compulsory, Babu. If you don't write colon, that is syntax error. Please note, colon is compulsory. A block of one or more statement, we call it as body of the if, to be executed if the condition is true. So whenever this condition is true, all these statements get executed. When the condition, okay, evaluates to true, all these statements are executed. And Python required the block to be indented. Indentation is compulsory. Without indentation, it is error, sir. Okay, syntax error. The statements within a block must all be indented by the same number of spaces from the left. So the indentation must be same. So don't think that indentation means I'll just give my own indentation. They must be with same number of spaces on the left. That is also compulsory. Okay, so let me write a simple program where I try to check whether the given number is positive or not. Okay, so I'll just take a number. Okay, so what I'm saying, I take the input and I'm giving the instruction to the user, enter an integer. So once the user enters that particular integer, now I try to check whether this number is positive or not. So if it is positive, then what I say, that number. So I can use, printing formatting. I may use this f string, sir. Okay, that number is positive. Okay, this is statement after if. So you can just see, you enter the value. Whenever it is positive, that is, if the number is positive, you enter this if block and this statement get executed, and after that this statement obviously get executed, my dear friend. So let us run this and check whether we are having any errors in this. And you see, this is the keyword, this is the condition. I am checking whether given number is positive or not, and the colon is compulsory. And you see this indentation. See, automatically, because I am using VS Code, automatically that indentation is given by VS Code. Suppose after this, if I want one more statement, even for this indentation is automatic, sir. Okay, this indentation is automatic. Clear? You can write one more statement like well done. Am I clear? So all these statements get executed, my dear friends. See, this is all what I want to print, sir. Don't think, if number is positive, you get well done. It's not like that. I am just writing whatever I write in the print statement, that all get printed, nothing more than that. So when I run this program, and if I enter a number like 345 and see what happens. So it is clearly meant we enter this if block. So this statement, that is 345 is positive, well done, and this statement after if also get executed. Okay, now suppose I have a system where if I enter my name, then it says hello sir, very good morning or good evening. Okay, or it says hello to me. Otherwise it says Babu, please check your name. Okay, something like this. So what I am doing, I am entering the name. I am entering my name. So input, see, actually we are entering the name. By default the entered value is string, so you don't have to do any evaluation for that. You don't have to do any evaluation for that. Enter your name. Okay, so what I do, I enter my name. So name is the variable which refers to my name. Now I check if the name which I entered is Sridhar. Okay, and colon. Then what it will do? It will print hello sir. Okay, because it identified me. Else what happened? See, actually we not given anything else. If the condition is true, this is what need to be done. If the condition is false, what happens? Let us see. I just take, this is statement after print. Okay, let me write down this once again. Why to waste energy? So I'll just rewrite this. So what happens? I'll just try to check this. Okay, and please check your code. Colon is compulsory. This condition should evaluate to boolean. Okay, please note that. Now when you do this, and here I write my name Sridhar, and if I enter, so what happened? Because the name is correct, it says hello sir. This statement after if, this also get executed. Suppose instead of this I say Babu, what happens? So we are not entering that if block, directly the statement after if block get executed. So this is what actually happens. See, mainly, you can use all this, in Python programming. Suppose you are writing, a web page, you enter your names, okay, you enter your date of birth. Sometimes you may enter some value, which is like, they may ask you to enter phone number. You enter some number more than 10 digits. That can identify and it can tell you, Babu, you given a wrong number, please enter. maybe you are giving a mail ID and it is not provided with .com or anything else, then also you can check this. Generally in web pages, when you are writing your details, if you give wrong information, it identifies. General common information need to be provided properly, otherwise it will identify. So generally these conditions are used for that purpose. Am I clear? Please note that. And please note this, if the block contains just one statement, then we can place it in the same line as the if. Actually this is possible, sir. Suppose if you are having a single statement, okay, instead of writing in a separate line, it can be written in the same line. Even if you are having multiple lines also, they all can be written in the same line, sir, but you need to separate them by semicolon. Suppose if you are having single statement, instead of going with a new line and 4 spaces or indentation, if it is a single line, you can write like this also. It also works fine, my dear friends. You can verify this. I say Raju, then also it works, because that Raju is wrong. It says, I mean, it does not enter this if block. But it is not a good practice, my dear friends. Always try to write that if block within that, so that it is easy for you to understand what is the code. Code is readable. Am I clear? You understand code better. For example, if you are having 2 statements, you can write both the statements in the same line separated by semicolon. You can print well done. Okay, you can print well done. Okay, or welcome, no problem. You can see hello sir, welcome also you can say, no? Welcome. Okay, so you can have both the statements in the same line. In this case also it welcomes you and you will get the output, my dear friends. Hello sir, welcome. This statement after that is these 2 statements get executed. Even 100 statements are there, they can be separated by semicolon, but that doesn't look good or it is not readable. So please don't follow this, my dear friends. Am I clear? So when there is a single statement, generally people use this idea. When there is a single statement without any semicolon and all, they use this idea, but that is not a good practice, my dear friends. But whenever it is required, you can do that. Please note that point. The next one is if else statement. Please remember, in Python, this else statement is optional. Okay, even if else is there. Now in the previous example, we not have any else part, and actually else part can also be used together with loops also. That is very, very interesting, which is not there in other programming languages. Please note that. Am I clear? Now this if else statement, what happened? You are executing the statement sequentially, and if you find a condition which is a Boolean expression, if the condition is true, there are some blocks of statements, or if block you can call it, that if block get executed, and after entire if else block, the next statement after this if block get executed, we move to the next statement after the entire if else block. Am I clear? If else structure. If the condition is false, the if block is ignored and control directly transferred to the else block. That is, all the statements in the else block get executed. Then we move to the statement after that if else structure. That is what happens, my dear friends. So this is the syntax. You can see the syntax of this if else block. If we will have a condition, if is the keyword, then this is the condition, which is a Boolean expression, then colon is compulsory, and these are the statements with indentation, which tells that all these statements belong to the if block or block of if statement. And then we have this else followed by colon. See, else, because if the condition is false, you don't have to mention the condition is false again. Automatically it moves to the else part only. And after else, colon is compulsory. Else is the keyword. Here else is the keyword, sir. And all these statements must be written with indentation. So whenever the condition is true, these statements get executed. That is, if block get executed. If the condition is false, this entire if block ignored and conditional directly transferred to the else block. All these statements get executed, and after that the next statement get executed. That is, control transferred to the next statement. Is that clear? So that is about your, if else. And here, as I mentioned, keyword if begins an if statement, and else begin an else statement. And a condition after if is a Boolean expression, and there is no condition after else expression, my dear friends. And a colon must follow the condition after if. A colon is compulsory after if, and a colon is compulsory after else. Please note that point. The body of if executed when the condition is true, otherwise body of else is executed. And Python requires the blocks to be indented. Indentation is compulsory, my dear friends. Please note. Now I want to check whether a given entered number is even or odd. Let us try to check this simple program, sir. So let us say number, and I just say evaluate input. Okay. Now I ask, like, user to enter an integer. Okay. So the user enters, and how to check whether the given number is even or not? Okay, with percentile operator. Okay, so when you divide by 2, if the answer is 0, that is remainder is 0. When you divide by 2, remainder is 0, then it is even number, otherwise it is odd number. Okay, so that is the simple check we are using, sir. If the given number percentile 2 is 0, then print the number. I am using f string, sir. The number is an even number. Else I am printing. Why to waste energy? Let us copy paste and change that even to odd. Oh, sorry. Num is odd number. So this is a simple program, my dear friends. Let us try to see this. Okay, let us run this, and please check the colons. Suppose if you miss the colon, it will immediately say Babu check. You are expected to write a colon. So that is a syntax error. Please be careful. Am I clear? So now it runs. Now you enter the number 34. 34 is even number. Now let us run once again. 35. 35 is an odd number. Okay. Now sometimes you may do, like, 34.56. Then what happens? See, actually it doesn't work for float numbers, because we don't say floating point numbers are even odd, but it is saying floating point number is odd number. Okay, please check that, my dear friends, because whatever logic you done, it is going to work according to that. So here there is a semantic problem. It is not syntax problem, your logical problem, because you not given a proper code for that. Suppose you enter any fractional number, you should say this is wrong. Okay, if it is not an integer, you should say it is wrong. Then what happens? Suppose you can check whatever number you got, if type of that is integer, then only you enter this. Then only you can check. Otherwise, you don't check this. Like that you can mention. Is that clear? So you have to write a proper code, my dear friends. Please be careful. And actually, if you remember, under operators, we discussed one special operator called conditional operator. Okay. So actually that conditional operator or ternary operator, we call it, that is a special case of if else, my dear friends. That is a special case of if else. Actually, if you see, Python provides an alternative to this if else construct called conditional expression. We already seen this, so I'll just repeat. I'll just do for the same problem, sir. So it is, a shortcut actually. So what it will do, expression if condition is true, else expression true. So whenever you are having, if block having single statement, else block having single statement, even if you are having multiple statement also, you can do it, sir, but you have to separate them with colons and all nonsense you need to do. So generally whenever you are having single expressions, we use this. For example, if you see the previous problem, I'll just take this. So I got the number. So now what I am doing is, print. So this printing only I am doing, sir. This printing only I am doing it, because this is expression 1. This is expression 1. This is expression 1. If num percentile 2 is 0, else I am having expression 2. What is the expression 2, sir? This is the expression 2. So the same if else can be written like this, my dear friends. Same if else can be written like this. That is the idea. So if you run this, what happens? You can write 356 and enter. 356 is an even number. So here it is just a shortcut version of your if else block, my dear friends. The ternary operator which you used is a shortcut of this if else block, my dear friends. Am I clear? So expression 1 if condition, else condition 2, or expression 2. So condition is true, this expression 1 is evaluated or printed, whatever it is. If the condition is false, the second part get executed. That is the idea, my dear friends. Now let us talk about the nested if and if else. That is, if can be nested within itself, then we can also nest if else within itself. Okay, so the statements in a block of if or the else may be any Python statement. That is, within the if block we can have statements. Those statements can be sequential statements or they can be if else statements. No problem, any statements you can have, including other if else statements. Suppose if the statements within the if are if statement, that is what we call it as nested if statement. Okay, so I just want to take this problem like finding maximum of 3 numbers using nested if. Let us see this, my dear friends. Let us try to understand this with one example. Okay, I'll just explain how you find maximum of 3 numbers. Maximum of 3 numbers. So how you find maximum of 3 numbers? 3 numbers are given to you, say 20, 15, 6 or 45. Let us take like this. So first what we can do is you compare any 2 numbers, a greater than b. So first you are comparing a greater than b. It may be either true or it may be false. So when it is true, that means a is larger than b. Now you need to compare a with c. You compare a with c. And if it is true, means what happened? A is greater than b and a is greater than c. Therefore, a is the largest number. Now suppose if it is false, what happens? Because a is greater than b, that is out of ab, a is larger, but out of a, c is larger. So which one is larger fellow? C becomes larger fellow. Suppose if it is false, means b is larger, so you compare b with c. And if it is true, b is the largest number. If it is false, c is the largest number. So we can use this simple logic to write the code for this if else block or nested if else. Let us see this. So I'll just take 3 numbers, a, b, c. You can take any number, sir. 3 numbers. So what I am going to do is first I check whether a is greater than b or not. If it is true, within this if a is greater than b, then what I need to check? I need to check whether a is greater than c or not. So for that I use another if, a greater than c. Now if it is true, that is a greater than b and a greater than c, then what I can do, sir? I can print a value. I'll print a value. Suppose if it is false, that is a greater than b but a is not greater than c, in that case what I need to do, sir? I need to print c. That is, which fellow is larger here? C is larger. So the first left hand side of this left hand side part is completed. If a is greater than b, within that we are having one more if else case. Now if it is false, we are into this case. Okay, so what we need to check in this case? Now in this else part, that is what happened? A is not greater than b. What I need to do? I need to check if b is greater than c. I need to check if b is greater than c. Suppose if b greater than c means here what happened? B is greater than a and b is greater than c. Therefore, we are printing B as the output. Else, who is the, or which fellow is the largest value? C is the largest value. So C is the largest value. So this is what we call it as nested if else. Am I clear? Nested if else, my dear friends. You can see out of this, which fellow is larger? 67 is larger. Okay. That is the story about nested if else. So within this if block, you can have any statements. If you understand, this can be nested to any level, my dear friend. This can be nested to any level. Of course, you can write this code in a simple manner. That is a different story. But within this, if that is, there is a if block. If block means what, sir? There are some statements. The statements can be sequential statement. They can be, selection statement. You can write repetition statements also. Within if you can have a repetition statement. Within that again you can have if, or you can have else. Anything is possible. Just understand that if block contains some statements. The statements can be any type. Sequential, repetition, selection, whatever nonsense. Is that clear? Hope you understand. And look at this. Now, what is the output for this particular program? See here, when I say pass, don't do any activity. Pass means no activity. See, generally this is used, generally this is used, suppose you are writing code and for time being you are not decided to write any code for this particular part of the program. Okay, for this condition, you not decided what to do. So in such cases, generally you can write pass. Pass means no activity, nothing, no work. So pass means no work. Or no code get executed, nothing get executed, just come out. Okay, just pass to the next statement after that. That is, this if block has no statements. You entered, but there is no work to do. So pass is just like no work. Generally, it is mainly used with repetition parts, my dear friends. Break, continue, and pass are mainly used with repetitions, but this pass can be used with, selection statements also. Please note that. And always remember this else you see, this is optional. It's not necessary that whenever there is a if, there should be else. Of course, in the conditional operator or ternary operator, that else is compulsory. Am I clear? But here, normally in the if else block, if you are writing, if after if you have some else part, something to do, you can do it, or you can simply ignore that, my dear friend. Else is not compulsory, my dear friends. That's why we are having direct if statement also. Then we are having this multiple decision making statements. See, for example, here I just given one simple example, sir. So you see this, you can see I enter a number, month number. Based on the month number, I am printing whether it is January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Of course, all this can be done within this statement, sir. All this can be done within this. If it is a single statement, as I mentioned, you can directly write here. So that's why I am writing here, my dear friends. There is nothing wrong if you write like this or you write like this. See here what happened, out of many conditions, if you are having many conditions to verify. For example, the famous program we generally write for this is based on marks, grades based on marks. Suppose if marks greater than or equal to 80, the grade is A. And suppose if the marks between 60 to 80, then suppose grade is B. And suppose between 45 to 60, say grade is C. And say 30 to 45, the grade is D, else fail. Or you can say F, or you can also have A, B, C, D, E, F also, no problems. Okay, you can write. So in generally, when you are having multiple conditions to be evaluated. Instead of writing if, within that again if, we can use this elif. Okay, this is what we call it as, you know, multiple decision making, and for that we are going to use this elif. That is first condition, condition 1, some statements. Suppose if it is not true, then I need to make second condition. So for that I just need to write elif, the condition 2, some statements to be executed if that condition is true, elif, condition 3, some statement to be executed. Like that you can continue to any level, my dear friend. And finally this else, and this else is optional, sir. You can stop with elif only, no problem. This else is optional, my dear friends. This else is optional. After that you can have some statements. Okay, so that is exactly what this multiple decision statement will do, my dear friends. Okay, here you can see I just given one example, month. Okay, so I ask the user to enter month number. So whatever number he enters, if the month is equal to 1, the entered value is 1, I am printing it is January. Elif, if the month entered is 2, I am printing it is February. As I mentioned, if it is a single statement, within this line you can write this, my dear friends. Within this line you can write it. There is nothing wrong. Okay, you can write within this, or you can write in the next statement like this. For all of them you can write in the next statement, sir. You can mix and match also, no problem. So if month is equal to 1, I print January. If the entered month is 2, February is printed. If entered month is 3, March is printed, like that. And if entered month is 11, November is printed. And else, if the number is anything other than that, December is printed. Of course, as he mentioned month number, you know, month numbers are from 1 to 12. You have to enter those values only. Now some people say, so what if I enter -5? The code is not going to handle such situations, sir. It can handle only 1 to 12. Please note that. Am I clear? If suppose someone else a different value, you have to write code for that. That is, if we enter some value, say less than 12, less than 1, or negative value, you should scold him. Babu, no, the number of months in a year can be only 1 to 12. You can have only 12 months in a year. Like that you can mention. Okay. So that you can do it, sir. Suppose if any value greater than, like, you know, you can do like, you know, month 12 also let us write down. So elif, let us make it as elif. If it is 12, then you can say print December. And else, that is, if he enters any other value, you tell him that, dear friend, please learn that number of months must be 1 less than or equal to 1 to 12. Integer from 1 to 12. You can just inform him what to enter. Suppose he enters some wrong value, you can tell him that please enter proper value, like that. So let us run this, and suppose user enters 6, you get the proper output like June. As I mentioned, suppose if he enters say 456, then what happens? You'll write this big statement, dear friend, please learn that number of months must be an integer from 1 to 12. Both included also you can write. That is the story, my dear friends. Is that clear? Now we can use, okay, maximum, you can use this, you know, elif ladder. We generally call it as elif ladder in other programming languages. So generally here they call it as if, elif and else. Okay, any name is fine, sir. You can call it as elif ladder. There is nothing wrong. Maximum of 3 numbers using elif ladder. So here what we can do, using elif ladder, what we can do, sir? You can just take the 3 numbers A, B, C, which is equal to 12, 78, 45. Then first you can ask, like, you know, A greater than B and A greater than C. See, here we can use this, you know, logical operators. If both are true, okay, A greater than B is true and A greater than C is true, then you enter. Then what is printed, sir? If both are true, what is printed? You print A is the highest value. Elif. Suppose if B greater than C, then you print B as the answer. And in other case, see the logic I am explaining, please see here, sir. For this, I just explain the logic here. You see here. See, if A greater than B and A greater than C, if these two are true, then A is printed. Suppose if it is true but this is false, okay, C must be printed, but I am not doing it. I am assuming this is true, okay, and this is, if one of them is false, what happened? You are coming out. You are coming out. Now I am checking whether B is greater than C or not. I am checking whether B is greater than C or not. So if it fails and if you come here, what happens? If B is greater than C, what happens? Then B is printed. I think there is something wrong in this code. Let us try to check it. Else, I am printing C. Now let us check whether it works properly or not for every value. It works properly or not for every value. So if A greater than B and A greater than C, then it works fine. So here 78 is the largest value, it is working fine. But if A is greater than B, that is true. That is, if I am having something like, 89, then what happens? It is giving A is greater than B, but A is not greater than C. Maybe like, 45. Okay. Okay, anyhow, it works in all the cases, I think. 98. So you can check any order. I think it is working for every value. Okay. You can tell, or let us try all the 6 possibilities, sir. A, B, C. Let us take simple story like 1, 2, 3. Keep on changing A, B, C, fellows. We'll understand. A, C, B. Still 3 is the answer. B, A, C. 6 possibilities. 3 is the answer. BCA already done. BCA. 3 is the answer. C, A, B. 3 is CBA. So this works. For any order, it works, my dear friends. Am I clear? So this works for any 3 numbers, my dear friends. You take any 3 numbers, you are going to get maximum of this. So what it is doing, what I am doing actually here for this, what actually I am doing, sir? Okay, let me take here. I check whether A greater than B and A greater than C. So I am checking whether these two are correct. If these two are correct, A is printed. Okay. Suppose if it fails, then A is not printed. Even if it fails, A is not printed. If any one of them fails, then I am directly moving to the next part. I am checking B with C. I am checking with B with C. Suppose this is true, A is greater than B is true, and you are here. B is greater than C. Then what happens? A is the answer. A is greater than B, but A is not greater than C. A is greater than B, but A is not. That doesn't never happen, because A is greater than B, but A is not greater than C, but B is greater than C. It never happens. So obviously it will rule out that particular situation. Am I clear? So in this case, you are going to get B answer. Otherwise, the missing cases, that is C part, will come here, my dear friends. Otherwise, the missing part will come here, because A greater than B true. Okay, this is true and this is true means obviously what happens in this particular case, A has to be greater than C only. This is true and this is true means you never enter here. This has to be this particular part only. Am I clear? So it always works. Please note that. And let us write down the code for this also. Marks nested elif ladder for this marks. Enter the marks. Let us ask user to enter the marks. You can use eval function. Input. Please enter your marks. Okay. So once user enter the marks, we check if marks greater than or equal to 90. then print A grade. I try to use A, B, C, D, E, then print A grade. I'll just copy paste, sir. Then I modify accordingly. Elif marks between let us say 80 to 90. Okay, so 80 to 90, 80 less than or equal to marks less than 90. See, in Python we can directly use, instead of writing marks greater than or equal to 80 and marks less than 90, in Python you can directly write like this. This is advantage in Python, my dear friends. Suppose you are using C language, this is not allowed. Am I clear? Please make note of it. Am I clear? 80 less than or equal to marks less than 90. Okay, then it is B grade for me. Now suppose it is between say 65 to 80. Let me call it as C grade. Then let me take from 40 to 65. Okay, not to this case, I'm just giving some random values. You want, you can change your code. Then it is D grade. Maybe I think we should go from 50 to 65. Then I can take something like 40 to 50. 40 included, 50 not included. Then it is E grade. Else, in this case, I am saying fail. Okay, so this is the idea, my dear friends. Of course, you can ask user to enter the marks between 0 to 100, something like that. You can mention proper marks, because marks they know, they enter properly only. We are assuming it, and this is the code, my dear friends. So let us run this. So I enter 78 marks. So C grade. Between 65 to 80, even if I got 75 marks, so the answer is only C grade. Okay, so let me write something like 98. Yeah, I got A grade. Okay, hope you all get good grades, my dear friends, in the future. So that is about selection statements, and the next class we start with the repetition statements, my dear friends. If you have any doubts, you can write in the comment box or in the chat box. And we also started this giving questions in our community, YouTube community. You can please answer those questions, my dear friends. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you very much.